My name is Federica. I'm part of the DocCity team, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all into this live presentation of PFH University of Applied Sciences. And it's my pleasure now to leave the floor to the Professor Joachim, who will be starting with the presentation. Don't forget to write all of the questions that you might have into the Q&A section that you'll find in the Zoom window, and we will be able to answer at the end of the presentation. Joachim, I'll leave you the floor.
Thank you very much, Federica. I greatly appreciate and warmly thank you for your introduction. And hello to everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and possibly good evening. I'm very glad for this opportunity and for meeting you in this virtual way. We are not a virtual university, we are a real university. Our name is not Innovative University, but Federica attributes the innovation character to us because probably we are innovative, but our name is PFH, Private University of Applied Sciences, and this is how you will also find us on the internet. So why are we calling ourselves innovative? Because we are doing many different teaching modes and research modes. We are adapting very quickly to changing circumstances, such as the one in the COVID-19 period. And of course, we are innovative in terms of making students entrepreneurs, and we are finding innovative ways to do this. And we are going to explain you a bit on how that may work in our English taught master study programs. I want to work you through this talk together with Stefan Samit, whom you have also seen on one of those pictures. He has his camera on. He is head of the International Office of PFH and also the program director of the English taught master programs. And my name is Joachim Ahrens. I'm a professor of international economics, and I have been working with PFH now for 15 years, and I still enjoy it very much, especially since we have started with our international programs a couple of years ago, being happy to see every year new people, new young people, students from all over the world flowing on our campus. Now, we're gonna walk you through this talk tonight in 6 steps. First of all, I introduce you to the university, and I describe a little bit the student life, and I start talking about one of the English taught programs, the management program. And then I hand over to Stefan, who will talk more about other programs in engineering, but also in management. And he will talk about working and living conditions in Germany. And of course, what's of interest to most of you, to job perspectives in Germany. And then in the end, we, all of us share a Q&A session with you. Let's get started. Now, this university is, for German standards, quite an old private university. You may know that Germany has a very long tradition in academic education, but this is in public universities. In private universities, only in the 1970s, it all started in Germany. And so the PFH is one of the most traditional or oldest private universities, now 25 years old. We are private, and that means we are privately organized and financed, but at the same time, we are a small university as part of a huge educational organization with international outreach. We are belonging to Galileo Global Education Group, and that means that we can take advantage of a large group in the background helping us to organize and finance ourselves. And at the same time, we provide to students a very family-oriented educational experience in very small groups of maybe 20 or 30 students only, with an individual attention, so that we know all our students by name on campus, and that we can take care that individual students can achieve, work on and achieve their own academic and professional objectives. This is what we can do and promise, and we have a quality guarantee because we are fully accredited and state recognized. So we need to fulfill all the standards which are given to us by the government of Germany and the government of Lower Saxony, the state we are located in. We do have campus studies and distance learning programs, and sometimes we can also use distance learning online tools to build them into our campus studies, especially in the COVID-19 era. This has proved to be very effective, but we learn a lot and we learn quickly to adapt this also to a hybrid mode of teaching, which is always good for international students because you are traveling around the world and once in a while you are back home, or you are doing an internship somewhere in the world and you need to connect to your university, and we can easily do this online. But of course, we are even more happy if we see and meet you in person on our campus, which you see on the right-hand side. It is being located in the middle of the city, very close to the university campus, so that we can share a lot of facilities. And we're going to talk more about that a bit later. The university is basically organized in 3 or actually 4 departments. It's management and law. We talk about tonight. It's engineering, even also mentioned tonight. It's a psychology department, and it's a medical technology or medical techniques department, what we call orthobionics, a kind of connection or combination of sports rehab engineering, but also orthotics and prosthetics. But this is certainly not the topic for tonight. But if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Of course, we do much more, not only teaching, we do a lot of research, and we do intermediation of knowledge and capabilities from academia into the professional world. And this is what our Centers for Entrepreneurship and Healthcare Technology, respectively, are here for. They also come with an incubator. That means we support startup businesses, maybe developed by our own students or by students or people and citizens of the city, or students from other universities. But we do see students from our school, and we have seen it for many years, who started their own business, and they receive backup support, financial and organizational support from this Center for Entrepreneurship, and of course from the expertise of professors and other instructors working at PFH. On the map, or in the map on the right-hand side, you see Göttingen. This is the city we're in. It's right in the middle of the country. And Stade, which is close to Hamburg, this is where our engineering programs are being offered. This is because Airbus Industries is located there, and we are very close and share even workshops with them. But the management studies, they are being offered in Göttingen, traditional university or college town, if you want, in the middle of the country. PFH is small, meaning we have right now slightly more than 30 full-time professors, plus 4 honorary professors, which also work for and with students. In addition, there are more than 50 instructors, or what we may call lecturers, coming to PFH or working for PFH full or part-time. We have practitioners coming from the professional world, giving talks and holding seminars. We have a bit more than 600 students on campus, and as I said, split up in these 4 departments. And for example, the management professors and instructors, they know all the campus students by name. Roughly 15% in the management field, more than 50% of students are international. In the management field, we can certainly say 20 or 25% are international students. In addition, our online students who are enrolled in distance learning programs, they account for 3,400 or even a bit more. But usually campus students do not have anything to do with online students. But of course, they can take advantage of some tools which we had developed for distance learning students, which we also make available for campus students. And this can be a huge help for campus students because that provides campus students with even more flexibility in working on and achieving their own objectives. Of course, it's possible to spend part of your studies in a master program, say a semester, or even longer if you go for a double degree at one of the 44 partner universities worldwide, not only in Europe, but also in Asia, in the Americas, and possibly very soon also in some African countries. We closely cooperate and coordinate our activities with partners from the professional world. And this is 13 trustees. It's the board of trustees, which also helped us to organize up to 5 endowed chairs. And this is the board of trustees. It's a mix of industrial and service industries. It's a mix of small and medium-sized, but also large companies. It's a mix of family-owned companies, but also companies at the stock market. It's a mix of finance. It's a mix of consumer electronics. It's a mix of industry, telecommunication, software development, and tourism. So this is not the only companies we closely cooperate with, but this is those companies we have been cooperating very closely over the last 20 or even 25 years with. So they are with us and they care. That does not mean that all our graduates work for those companies, but these companies actually reflect what we are doing. They are counseling, and they also help us developing new study programs. But our students, either as interns or as graduates for their first jobs, they may actually find a job with these companies, but they usually find jobs all over Germany, all over Europe, sometimes all over the world. From our international students, we can say so far that 100% employment or employability, that all international students have found so far a job either before graduation or not later than 9 months after graduation. We take some pride in saying this, and the employability is certainly a USP in our school. And this is not only because academic education is good and individually focused, but that our study programs, you will see it later, and I will explain it briefly in a few words, is very much practice oriented. So we closely cooperate with business and industry, and we have developed certain specializations with corporate partners in different branches of industries, and we involve experts from these partners in teaching and giving talks to students every week, usually at night, sometimes even during the day. We do have professors who are part-time professors, meaning that they work, that they have their own company, or that they act as a manager, and that 50% or 40% or 60% of their work is in the classroom as a professor. And we involve students in all study programs and project work, and the final thesis, which needs to be done by all students in all classes and in all programs, you don't have to, but can be done in cooperation with companies, which very often is a key to find a job after graduation. You don't have to do it, but those who do it are very successful in doing this. We have a placement and career service for mediation with companies. That does not mean that we serve jobs on the tray, on a silver tray to students, but that we support students in being as best prepared as they can for the job market interviews. And we give tips and advice, and sometimes we can even open up the door a little, but of course students need to go through this door by themselves, and then they have to kind of be convincing and in a in a job market interview. We do have company presentations regularly on campus. We do have workshops with companies and career forums so that you can actually talk to professionals. You can also talk to alumni, that means graduates who now work for companies, who come back to PFH to give talks and also to report to students about their own experiences. And of course, our alumni, the graduates, they actually love it to talk to current students and also to help them in finding their way through business. We invite international visiting professors and lecturers regularly to campus so that you get also a flavor from the atmosphere and the educational experience which is being offered at other universities in other countries. As said before, we pay individual attention to students, and we do have innovative teaching methods. It's not only teaching in a classroom, it's workshops, it's usually lectures, it's excursions, either to companies in Germany or possibly to other places. Once in a while, we do have China excursions for those who want. It's optional, of course. We have flipped classrooms, modes of teaching. We have a whole lot which we can do, and we are very flexible in this because of a very excellent lecturer to student ratio of roughly 1 to 10. That means one lecturer professor comes on to 10 students, so we can speak to students individually or in very small classes. Lectures are very interactive. We do have additional tutorials and experimental and simulation games, case studies, and as I mentioned before, excursions, seminars, and workshops. We help students systematically to approach scientific academic work. In the beginning, we instruct you how to do it, and in the end, you can do it independently. And we feel that this is good because it gives student guidance and orientation, especially when it comes to writing academic papers. And this is something you have to do at any university in the world. And at PFH, we do have different forms of examination. It would be written exams, oral exams, group presentations. It would be also written academic essays, and this is very important because the very last thing you do in your program is writing a thesis, and this is of utmost importance. And at the latest, at this stage, you should be able to do independent academic work, and this is what we provide: training opportunities under the guidance and supervision of experienced professors and lecturers. Well, Göttingen is a city of 120,000 people with more than 30,000 students, a city which hosts 3 universities. We are the smallest, but we take pride in saying at PFH, you study in a very personal manner with personal individual attention, taking advantage of a very, very small educational entity. And at the same time, you can take advantage of a city and a university with 30,000 students, which provides you a lot of amenities, which you will be part of, because we cooperate closely with the University of Göttingen, the public university, so that our students can take advantage of a lot of services being offered by the Students' Union and the university itself. Göttingen has been, and possibly some of you have heard about the country, the city before, has been and still is a truly academic city, which has brought out actually 45 Nobel laureates. 2 of them still live in the city. We have an excellent infrastructure in terms of transportation, so you can come and go as quickly as you can. Göttingen is a small city, so you are not distracted in your attention from studying. But if you want to go away very quickly over the weekend, this is easy by train on the freeway, or even by flying out of Hanover or Frankfurt, and you are very quickly into Berlin, Munich, Hamburg, Paris, or even London, if you wish to do so. It's a research city with a lot of internationally renowned research and development institutes, including Max Planck Institutes, the German Aerospace Center, and German Primate Center. And we do host in Göttingen several globally leading high-tech companies, especially in measurement technologies, but also in bionic mobility and automotive supplies. All in all, it's a perfect gateway to biggest European cities and of course all over Germany. The campus in Germany, well, you have access to all services of the student union. As I mentioned before, you're taking advantage of a big university you are not part of, while taking advantage of the small university you are enrolled in. Göttingen provides relatively cheap and high quality dorms, much more inexpensive than Hamburg, Munich, Cologne or Berlin, not to compare London or Paris. There are regional trains free of charge. There are vast library facilities, one of Germany's largest, and you are part of it and you have access to all these facilities. You can actually eat at discounted prices at students' canteens, students' restaurants and cafeterias. And if you want, you can have a virtual tour around PFH if you use this link, which is given below here. PFH is a truly international university, having connections all over the world, as I mentioned before. And here you see our outreach to partner universities in Asia and in the Americas, and of course in Europe. You can go and spend a semester abroad, but you can also attend tailor-made educational programs. But you can also, if you want, go for a double degree program. We have 3 double degree partners, one in Australia, that would be Bond University at Gold Coast. Then our most popular partner in this respect is Catch Business School, 3-fold international accredited business school in Bordeaux in France. And you can also go to Regent's University in London. Be assured that all these double degree programs make it possible that you can study in English. Although in France, you may actually order your glass of wine or your bottle of beer in French. The study program is being taught in English, so to be on the safe side. We provide 3 English taught programs we're talking about tonight. That would be a program in general management, which is very close to what I would call an MBA. It's composites. That would be an engineering program Stefan will talk about later, and a user experience management design program, which is brand new. We just developed along the request of practitioners, of companies and students, and we will also present this to you. Entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial thinking is very, very important at PFH. Even if you do not go for your own startup, it's important for us that all our students are getting familiar with entrepreneurial thinking, with taking risks and taking decisions. This is what a manager needs to be able to do. And everything PFH does in education, in teaching, in research, but also in transmitting entrepreneurial knowledge to the professional world. PFH has been ranked very high in national rankings, and this is what you can see here. We call it a Gründungsradar. It's a radar for startup businesses, and this is what what's had been acknowledged by many elite kind of institutions, and we have been and still are regularly recognized for this. Now let's start with the study programs. And the first of the 3 study programs we talk about tonight would be the general management program. We launched this diploma in business studies 25 years ago, and we do not have to go through all these steps, but what's really important is the general management program for international students. This comes with an employability rate of, I must say, 100% so far. Of course, there may be a person who is not so successful, but so far all our graduates achieved or got a job very quickly after graduation, and 99% because over the 25 years with a lot of German graduates, I think there were a handful of students who needed more time. We provide a job guarantee to our master graduates, and the job guarantee means that we are confident to say that all students graduating successfully from PFH in the regular period of time and with a grade of good, that means in a German scale of 2.5 or better, and with a German proficiency of B2 level, will find a job not later than 9 months after graduation. Very often we see that even before graduation, students get a job or job offer, or maybe even two. And we guarantee that you can do it. That means we are confident. And if not, then we reimburse you 20% of those tuition fees which you have paid to PFH. So this is our promise, and we stick to this. And we are confident to say that our education is that good that our students find a job they like in Germany or elsewhere in your home country, or possibly any other country on this globe. You can actually use a lot of flexibility in this program, in the management program. You select 3 electives from those which are mentioned here: sales management, industrial management, and logistics, but also corporate financial management, business psychology, marketing, and also e-business. But in addition to this, you can have or enjoy even more flexibility, because you are requested to go what we call through practice projects. And that means you can actually develop your own profile in any industry, in any function, in any business function you like. Even if you do not attend a course on the specific subject, if you do a practice project on this and you have a supervisor, you can develop your own individual profile so that it is exactly you who gets out of the program after 18 months. And after having gained 90 so-called ECTS credit points. This management program is, of course, accredited, as all our programs are, and we take students in April and in October. This high degree of flexibility, which I mentioned before, also refers to the phases in which students are given the opportunity for internships. If you want, you can actually spend up to 8 or 9 months out of these 18 months in the professional world, being part of a company as an intern, or possibly in a fixed term appointment, if you are a lucky one, possibly getting a paid internship. And this is also an integral part of your study program. That means placements belong to the study course. And this is very important, because it's you choosing your internship and your placement. We are helping you in doing this. And that means you're combining your academic education with professional experience. And I guess this, together with your own profile development, makes you highly employable after 18 months. Down here, we even say that you can spend up to 10 months in practice. This is basically possible, but not recommendable, because it's a bit tight in this case, but most students go for 8 or 9 months, and that works very well for them. And they can actually break it down into 2 or possibly even 3, but usually students do 2 different internships in this period of time. But you can also, if you want, have a semester abroad at one of our partners, or do a double degree program. But the most important thing at this stage is, because of the flexibility, each student can develop his or her individual profile, meaning you are signaling to the professional world who you are, what your strengths are, what your interests are, and where your experience lie in. The entry requirements and fees, well, you need a bachelor's degree of 210 ECTS. That may be actually a problem for some students, but never mind, we are here to help. If you have gained less than 210 ECTS or an equivalent to this, then we are offering so-called bridging courses, or if needed, in case that you have a non-business bachelor's degree, you can also join our management master program if you add a 1 semester foundation. This can be done through distance learning, but you can also do it while you are in Germany, in Göttingen, making yourself familiar with the university, meeting fellow students, and taking intensive German language courses. So that means that for those of you who are not business bachelors taking or aiming at a business degree, you can do that as well. But then certainly this program will not be limited to 3 semesters, but 4 semesters. So it would not be 18 months, but 24 months. The language requirements, of course, it's English taught, and that means you need to come up with a TOEFL IBT of 86 or an IELTS of 6.5. And we can talk about the fees now and also later if you have questions. The tuition fees are 4,800 euros per semester, and there's a one-time examination and a one-time admin and enrollment fee. So you can do the math, and we can also talk about that later, also about funding and stipends. For example, if you come with a GMAT score of 630 or more, then you get a substantial discount in tuition fees, but this can be discussed later on. So this would be it from my side. And now I hand over to Stefan, who will talk about the other 2 programs and some other aspects. Thank you very much until now.
Thank you very much, Joachim. If you could stop sharing your screen, perfect. I will share mine.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, I wanted to thank Joachim for the presentation, and for all of you, I can see that more people joined. We are starting with our presentation, but please feel free to write all of your questions into the Q&A, because after the presentation, there will be time to answer all of your questions. It's now my pleasure to leave the floor to Stefan, who will be talking about the other 2 master programs.
Well, thank you very much, Frederica. And thank you as well also to Joachim. We have another 30 minutes in total, so I'm going to try to go through these slides as efficiently as possible. I might leave out some details, and if you want to have more information about that, as Frederica has just pointed out, you will have the opportunity to do so at the end of this session, and we are always at your disposal for questions in the follow-up of this session. So you're always welcome to contact us directly. As Joachim Ahrens mentioned a few minutes earlier, this Masters in User Experience Management and Design is a very new program. It will be starting in October this year, and it will be in German in October, and then it will start also in the English version as of April next year. So in time for anybody who is looking towards pursuing studies in Germany. And it was more or less a bit of a natural development, because PFH has expertise in 3 areas which are essential to this program. These 3 areas are business administration, psychology, with a clear focus on business psychology, and also business informatics. And it was one of our professors in business informatics, along with his colleagues in business psychology, who realized the potential and the need on the job market for experts in this area. And it was basically the next obvious step, one of the programs that we would definitely want to add to our portfolio. So I mentioned we're starting in October and then respectively in April for the English taught program. It is accredited, of course, as Joachim Ahrens mentioned earlier on, according to the legislation in Germany and in the state of Lower Saxony. It's a 3-semester full-time program, 18 months, hybrid in the sense that depending on the background of the student's bachelor's degree, they will have to take some courses in other areas in which they do not have the expertise. So, for example, if someone has a bachelor's degree in psychology, then they would take courses in business informatics and in management. If they have a degree in management in their bachelor's, then they would focus on business psychology and on business informatics. So it's a very flexible program, and it is designed basically to provide students with the expertise that they require according to the latest industry requirements. So the focus is on theoretical, analytical, and conceptual design issues in the area of user-centered digital services, digital product and product development. And it's about creating successful products, not only digital products, but products in general. The entry requirements are similar to the management masters we went through earlier on. It's a business degree or an economics degree or commerce. Psychology is also fine, or business psychology, business informatics, and the admission team would also be happy to consider other applicants. It will be an individual process, but anybody who does not have any of the degrees mentioned over here, but is still interested in the program, is more than welcome to contact us, and we will be more than glad to assess the eligibility. Same as before, we need 210 credits in the bachelor's program, but it is very common to have 180 credits, so there's no issue over there. Anybody has a 180 credit program, they are more than welcome to apply, and we will also make bridging courses available so that the gap can be easily closed. English obviously needs to be given. Either an English taught bachelor's will do, or TOEFL or IELTS, the standard in this area of studies. Tuition fees are also mentioned over here, plus you also have all the information on the websites accordingly. What sort of areas are we looking at when it comes to implementation, user experience, management, and design? It's a little bit complicated, perhaps, for those who do not have this background, but it is more or less a new area of implementation, and it requires interdisciplinary expertise. And the areas of the professional profiles which we are looking at are very diverse. We have management on the one hand, we have marketing, which is a very clear focus. Research could also be an area of application or a profile, and also product development. So any of the profiles that you see listed over here on this page would be job vacancies that you would be looking at towards the end of your studies. This brings me to the third English taught master's program that PFH offers. We are planning to develop new programs, but for the time being, these three are the ones that you can definitely count on. This one has been offered now for many years very successfully as one of the pioneering programs in the area of lightweight engineering. We offer this in our other campus in the north of Germany, which is close to Stade, close to Hamburg. The city is called Stade, and we are located with our campus in the so-called CFK Valley, the Composites Valley. And we are also part of a network called Composites United. Now, you might recognize some of the brands listed on this page. This is you see also the river, the Elbe, which on the other side of the river is also Hamburg, the deep sea harbor. And these brands over here are manufacturers in composite technology, lightweight engineering, research institutes, and so on. One of our main partners here has been Airbus, and we are located directly next to one of the production sites of Airbus Industries. This is just to give you a bit of a closer picture of what our campus looks like from the outside. Of course, you're welcome to find out more about that. We've been running this program now for 11 years. We're actually one of the pioneers in the sense that there were practically no universities offering this sort of technology back then. We have kept our innovative approach and are still one of the leading higher education institutions in this area. We are known also for the practice-oriented teaching, which also includes projects. Some of the projects which we carry out are very hands-on. You see on the bottom right picture a group of PFH students who traveled to the UK to participate in a competition, a lightweight aircraft competition. PFH has often placed second, even I think we managed to come first in this particular competition in New York. Master students would also have the possibility to participate in such projects, but it being a 3-semester program, such projects are a little bit more difficult to implement, especially when it is a little bit more long-term based. The implementation or the application of carbon fiber reinforced polymers, it has been picking up over the years. You can see the development over here. The demand for composite material has increased fourfold in the last 10 years. We have various areas of application. It is mainly the automotive industry which is using this technology, but especially also the aviation industry. But windcraft is an area of application. Sports and leisure is another. Even the new hydrogen strategy, which is now being enforced here in Germany, will benefit from this technology when it comes to the tanks that require strong resistance, but lightweight at the same time. So the areas of application are becoming more widespread as the technology becomes more applicable. I apologize for this slide being in English, but I think the picture says it all. We are talking about 197,000 tons of this material being applied, being implemented in the areas that I have just mentioned by 2023. Our focus, our specialization is in automotive engineering, crane construction, aircraft construction, but the program itself is also very flexible with projects. The students can choose the focus of, so students wanting to focus on aviation can focus on aviation. The applications are diverse, and the structure allows for the students to choose their preferred area of focus. The Lightweight Engineering Masters itself is actually part of a triple award program. So the Masters itself is a 60 ECTS program, which PFH has complemented with a management certificate program and a German language certificate program. Why did PFH do that? Well, very often students interested in these programs are not only interested in the expertise itself, but would like to acquire work experience. They would like to do internships within the scope of their programs and stay on and gain further work experience after their studies. And one of the key elements, of course, is the German language, especially in the so-called Mittelstand, the small and medium-sized enterprises in Germany, the export champions, the hidden champions of the German economy. Very often they export worldwide, but it is always helpful to be able to communicate with fellow German-speaking colleagues. So that is why we thought it was important to complement this program also with German language courses and management courses as well, because very often students with this technical background end up working, for example, as key account managers, so in sales departments, in product development, which require management skills such as project management, sales management skills, learning how to deal with customers and so on. The Masters is, of course, fully accredited and state recognized. It's a 3-semester program, 18 months, which, as I mentioned, is very focused on practice-oriented teaching. The entry requirement is very much the same as the other program, with perhaps one difference being that students are required to have 1 year's work experience, professional work experience in an engineering-related field. And students should also have an above average bachelor's degree, at least bachelor's degree in engineering or mathematics or other natural sciences. I'll skip the next slide unless you have questions about that. We can always return to it. So where do students studying this program end up working in? It's the aircraft industry, of course, it's shipbuilding, it's machine building, as engineering consultants in research institutions, but also in the automotive industry, railway, spacecraft, and crafts enterprise in general. We're going to move on to one section now, which I think might be of particular interest to you all. We talked about how convenient it is to be living and studying in Germany, especially in Göttingen. Göttingen is perhaps, from this point of view, not to be compared with other large cities such as Munich, Berlin, or Hamburg, which tend to be a little bit more expensive. So we're looking at a budget of around 800 euros for living expenses, which should make it quite livable for students, especially if they make use of the services of the student works, the student dorms. It is possible to work during your studies. There are, in some of the programs, there are compulsory internships, so you don't need a special work permit to work. Beyond compulsory internships, you can also work part-time or full-time, and also secondary student activities are allowed. So working during your studies is not really an issue. After your studies, it is also quite advantageous. Germany's legislation has it that you can stay in Germany for up to 18 months without having to apply for a specific work permit. You can be looking for work, you can be working, and after that, after these 18 months, if you have a job, then chances are very high that you will be able to stay on either with a national working permit or with an EU blue card that we have with many students who have exactly this goal to come to Germany and also to stay on, to gain work experience, to work for a few years here in Germany, and then perhaps return to their home country or go to another country or stay in Germany. I mentioned earlier, it's very helpful to be able to speak at least an intermediate level of German. So B2 is something that students should actually strive for. Many companies have English as a corporate language, but I mentioned the Mittelstand, the so-called backbone of the German economy, the small and medium-sized enterprises. English is definitely a main requirement, but it does really help to speak German. It opens more doors, and it makes it easier also for PFH to help its graduates, to help its students find the right internships and the right jobs for them. The job perspectives in Germany, I mean, we're talking about getting or helping our students get the required qualification. So it's practice orientation, it's internationality, it's a corporate network, and personal development. And the combination of these four elements is what makes our students, our graduates, employable. But of course, it's also the job market and the economic situation of Germany, which makes it particularly interesting for international prospective students. I wanted to share with you a slide which perhaps you all know, but it's good sometimes to put numbers to your thoughts. This gives you the age distribution of Germany. We are looking at an aging country. By 2050, the average age in Germany will be around 50. Countries like, for example, India or other developing countries have average ages of between 30 and 35. So we have a large number of people who are entering retirement age in the following years. And this is, of course, also affecting the job market. We also have other factors. You might be asking yourselves, how has COVID affected Germany? I'd like to show you this slide over here, which shows the business confidence index. The source over here is the OECD. It shows how the business confidence went down once after COVID started. There was a trend even before COVID started, but now we see that the business confidence in Germany is actually higher than it was 3 years ago. So we see business confidence also in the future very positively. This also is shown in this slide over here, which shows us the employment barometer of the Ifo Institute, a very respected institute in Germany, which shows that now companies are seeking to recruit employees once again after a dip in April, May of last year, when we had the first wave of this horrendous virus. The last slide I would like to show you is, at least with regard to the need of employees in Germany, is this one over here. I'm going to have to translate this because it's in German, and this statistic was conducted by the Bertelsmann Stiftung. It's one of the largest foundations in Germany, also very respected. And they calculated that Germany needs an average of 150,000 people coming from outside of Germany in order to cover the demand on the job market. So in order for Germany to maintain its welfare state, in order for Germany to maintain its strength in the world economy, Germany needs an average of 150,000 employees coming from abroad in order to take the jobs, to do the jobs which German nationals will increasingly not be able to do because they are retiring. COVID has made the situation worse because in the first half of last year and even in the second half, we witnessed issues with visa issuing. So this is something that we hope now that the crisis has starting to take a positive turn will get better, even in terms of student visas. Our students have been still coming. We've been running our programs on a very normal basis. Even now on campus, we have some of our courses which are being taught here on campus in hybrid form, so that students can still attend classes from home. But we do hope for the economy in general that these visa issues will be eliminated as quickly as possible. So we've made it with a little bit of a delay, for which I apologize, but we have now the Q&A session where we will be very happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. I really like to thank our speakers for the presentation. And I have to say that you actually anticipated some of the questions that we received with your presentation. But I think still it could be good to start to have a look at those questions together. In particular, there was a question that was asking if for the general management program, work experience is required, and they're asking if there is some sort of concentration available. For example, they're asking about leadership or negotiation skills.
Let me answer this because I answered it already privately in a chat answer. So I want to say the same thing, what I have written before. Actually, no, there's no work experience required, but it is strongly recommended because work experience, if it is only a couple of months, possibly a year, is always helpful for two reasons. First of all, you already know better what you really want, and so it's easier to develop your own professional and academic profile. Secondly, it's much easier to successfully apply for an internship if you have some work experience before. So basically, we welcome students with a work experience. If you don't have work experience, we strongly recommend that you gain some before you start the program. Once in a while, it is possible to be a working student. It's not possible to work part-time or full-time and make your living out of this, but it's certainly possible to work or to act as a working student next to your studies for 10 hours a week or so, and to make some extra money and to gain some extra experience. Leadership training and a course on leadership, but also actual leadership training is integral part of the master program, and that also holds for soft skills seminars, including presentation, conflict resolution, and negotiation skills, and some others. Also, when it comes to language training, we offer language programs in many different languages, but especially in German. This is what we highly recommend. And I think this is also one of the next questions which came up, right?
Absolutely. So one of the other questions from Martina was actually about the German. So if German is needed to find a job, or students will be okay with English only, and they're actually asking if the school is offering some sort of preparatory courses In this case, the student is a little bit afraid that it will be hard to learn German.
All right. So we offer beginners and advanced courses in German. We offer intensive courses in German. We highly recommend to start learning German before you go into the program. You don't have to, but it makes things easier, at least an A1 or A2 level, which is not too hard. In fact, you do not need German to find a job, but it makes things much, much easier, as Stefan mentioned before. You may be okay with English only, but it opens more doors, even if the corporate language is English, to speak with a porter, to speak with people in the canteen. Everything is being easier if you speak a little bit of German. If you speak B2, that would be perfect. If you speak B1 or A2, that would be acceptable. If it comes to our job guarantee, as I mentioned before, then you need to speak B2 German in order to be eligible for the job guarantee. But it's actually some students, some graduates do not have a command of German of B2. They are maybe at A2 or even A1 and still get a job. But it makes things easier, but it's not a must.
Thank you. We have a question from Renato, and actually there was another question from an anonymous attendee. So they're asking us if there is some sort of scholarship offered. In this case, they are talking for the engineering master. So for example, asking if, I don't know, scoring a good GMAT score, or could be like any sort of excellence and thinking about GPA or any sort of scholarship that the institution is offering.
I'll answer that. So PFH offers various scholarships. For example, we're planning now also, we were planning it for last year, but COVID basically made us change our plans, but we wanted to celebrate our 25th anniversary and came up with a scholarship program. We're doing it this year instead. We have the so-called Germany scholarship as well, Deutschlandstipendium, which grants students, I believe, a 300 euro scholarship per month for around 1 year. So there are various scholarships. Very often these scholarships are, however, partial, and they're not enough to cover the full tuition fees. So while it's possible, as we mentioned earlier, to work part-time and to earn a little bit on the side to make sure that you have enough to get by, it's really important to make sure that the financing is stable. You really want to make sure as a student that you can focus entirely on your studies. And while it's good to check out what scholarship opportunities you have, and we have a website dedicated to that as well, and you are always welcome to contact us directly, in which case we can also provide you with further information about that. It's really important, and that is why you are asking Renato and the others about these scholarship possibilities, because you want to make sure you can really focus on your studies. So this is important, not to underestimate the difficulty of, you're coming to Germany, you want to learn the language. The studies themselves are also challenging, and the last thing you want is to have to worry about financing. So important question. We do have scholarships, but still it's important that you have your financing.
That's true, and I agree fully, but let me add that especially in the management programs, we have made the experience that all students who go for their mandatory internships, that most students actually are able to get paid internships. This is probably due to the fact that they are at master level, that they study practice-oriented, and that most of students have gained some sort of professional experience before, or do have an education. And of course, you should not rely on this, because you should be from the very beginning very relaxed in terms of your funding, so you should not worry. But more than expected, there are opportunities for paid internships. In fact, even in a situation with COVID-19, there is another question: are internships or any sort of laboratory work available at the moment? And the answer is yes. It's maybe not as easy as it used to be in a regular in a normal world without a pandemic, but still our students, most of them, interestingly, the international students are very successful in finding internships right now and had been over the last year, and most of them had been even paid internships. The COVID situation is getting better by the day. Of course, you can never be sure. Right now in the UK, we see that numbers are down, but there is a variant, and possibly there is an additional risk. We are not sure, but vaccination rates go up by the day as well. So we are confident to say that we will have a regular semester as of October this year. And we already do, and this is what Stefan mentioned, we already do our teaching on campus again in a hybrid form, meaning that students are free to decide whether they will attend classes on campus or whether they would like to stream classes. So it's for their personal preference and their personal safety. They can actually take their own decision and they will not be at a disadvantage. In fact, PFH managed to offer all classes, all regularly scheduled classes during the COVID-19 era, including all exams, meaning that there was no extension of study programs and that all students could achieve and can achieve their academic objectives in time. And of course, this is normal in normal times, but even in such a situation as we face it right now, we are flexible enough to make students succeed. And this is actually what we live and work for every day.
I might want to add perhaps two things. What I always suggest is when you're doing your research, have a look at websites such as platforms such as LinkedIn, or in Germany, there is this other platform called Xing or Crossing, Xing. If you have a look at these platforms and you search for PFH graduates, you will see where they're working, and you will also find international graduates who recently graduated who are working. And what we also do is we have a project which we've called PFH Champions. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to share the link with you yet, but we share this link with students who are in the final stages of the admission process, and this gives also applicants the possibility to contact recent graduates directly, without any people in between. Contact directly, get direct feedback from these graduates, ask them how it was. They will all tell you it was a challenge, but those who have succeeded have also good tips to give. We're saying that they succeed in finding applications, but it doesn't mean upon your first application you're going to get the internship. It's a process, right? And it's a process which we accompany you, but it's you in the driver's seat. This is an anecdote Professor Hans always likes using. You are driving, you are sitting in the car, you're driving, we're only giving you directions. But it's you who decides where you want to go, and it's us basically giving you what it takes to realize this potential.
Thank you. I actually wanted to take the opportunity, since we have the pleasure to have us with you. You probably will have a look at thousands of applications and speak to lots of students. So I wanted to ask, what do you think are the characteristics that you look for in a student, and what makes a successful application? I mean, you've been talking about job opportunities post-graduation, so I believe it will be competitive also to get into the institution that offers so many opportunities. So any sort of advice that you feel like giving to someone who is thinking about putting himself or herself into this process?
Of course, as all universities, we love to have excellent students. But the question is, what makes an excellent student? Grades are one thing. Of course, we look at grades. But grades are only one side of the medal. What's much more important for us is personality. We would like to get students who know what they want. We would like to have students who are able to take initiative. We are looking for students who are motivated. We are looking at students who know what their profile could be. We would like to teach students who have real interests and can actually convey their own ideas to us, even if grades are not superb. It's this would not be an aspect which is very important. So we look at the whole picture, and of course it's an advantage to have some sort of professional experience, but it's not a must. So if you can explain why you are who you are, and if we see a future, if we see that you will succeed in our program, but also in the job market, then we make you an offer.
I don't know. Yes, please, if you wanted to add anything.
I just wanted to add also, perhaps to explain what sort of university PFH is. We interview every single applicant who fulfills the general admission requirements. So after the first check is made, before assessment, if the general conditions are met, if the degree is recognized, and so on and so forth, we invite students to an interview. We conduct an interview with 2 representatives, usually a member of the faculty or one of the program directors, because we want to get to know the applicant a little bit better. But just as importantly, we want to give applicants the possibility to get to know the university a little bit better. And for German applicants who are here in Germany, who can easily travel to the city, to the university, they spend a day over here. We do a bit of a university tour so they can see where they're going to be spending the next couple of years of their lives. It's easier. For international students, the decision is a lot more difficult. They're investing more, and they're investing in something they do not have 100% certainty. There's always that bit of risk. Am I doing the right thing? Am I taking the right decision? Am I choosing the right university? So the least that we can do is to offer this individual advice before the application. We offer info sessions, we offer webinars such as this, but more importantly, we offer this individual attention. So people can call us, they can actually contact us, and there's not a chat bot answering your questions, but it's the people who will be answering the questions and who will be conducting the interviews. So it's very individual, and it's not thousands of applicants. We have 600 students on our campuses, and it's small groups. So that's what PFH stands for.
And I also like to take the opportunity to say that after this event, we will be actually sending you an email, and you will have the opportunity to book a one-to-one session with the team. So as Stefan said, it will be a great opportunity for you to have a personalized info session, just to find out more, as each of you will have a different story, different background, different goals. So I'm sure this would be a great opportunity. We still have time for another question. So we have Leonardo's asking us, he's finished a degree in bioprocess and biotechnology engineering, and is very much interested in the lightweight engineering master course. He's a little bit afraid this might get a little bit out of his area. Do you think he will have many difficulties in this case?
It really depends on what you want to go for, Leonardo. What I would suggest is the following, because this is composites and lightweight engineering is not my area of expertise. Both Joachim Ahrens and I are economists, and of course we know the basics of this program. But I would simply suggest that we organize an information session with one of our professors. For example, with Professor Unkenbold, who is also vice president for the technology. For technological affairs, he's an expert in lightweight engineering technology, or for example with Professor Degenhardt, who also works for Deutsche Luftraumfahrt, basically the German equivalent of the NASA. So I would suggest that perhaps we organize a meeting with them. It really depends also on where you want to go. I mean, if you want to focus in lightweight engineering, I don't know where, when you talk about biotechnology, and I think about, for example, our orthobionics program. We have a program in orthobionics, which is a mix of biomechanics and orthopedic technology. A lot of the parts in the production of the artificial limbs, the arms and prostheses basically are made of composite technology. So is this something you'd like to focus on? We are actually planning to launch a new master's program in sports and rehab engineering in English. We've been offering it in German, but we're planning to now offer it in English soon. Perhaps that is going to be an interesting master's program for you, but it will probably be available in April or October next year. So please feel free to contact us, Leonardo.
Perfect, thank you so much. So we're coming towards the end of our presentation. I really like to thank our speakers for the presentation and for their availability to answer all of the questions. I mainly wanted to ask you all for being connected and for all of your valuable questions. Just before saying bye for tonight, I just wanted to ask our speaker if there was anything else that they wanted to add. Of course, it's very hard to summarize and experience university in an hour webinar. You did a great job trying to, of course, presenting all the academic offerings, job opportunities and everything. Just wanted to ask if there was anything else that you wanted to add before closing our session tonight.
Except that it's been a pleasure. Last piece of advice, do your homework well when you're deciding where to study, and make sure you find an institution that is prepared to give you what you want.
Let me add, we would like to give all the information you need to make a proper decision. And it's always very, very important to do a well-informed decision before you go for your next program, be it at PFH or any other place. And I thank Federica very much and Doc City for giving us this opportunity tonight, because it's so important to look right and left, forward and backward, in order to find out what the best place and the best opportunity is for an individual. I wish you all the best in your search for your opportunities, and if we can be part of it or be of help for you, please let us know. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So thank you all for attending. Thank you to our speakers for their presentation and their availability. As mentioned, we will be sharing with you some extra information via email over the next few days. And we really look forward to seeing you soon at the next live presentation, and good luck for your future and for your choice. So thank you so much and have a great rest of the day. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.